everyone. Welcome back to Sports Time HQ. I am your host, Fernando, and joining me once again today is my great co-host, Keith. Keith, how are you doing today? It is week 13. There's 5 weeks to go. Season's already wrapping up.
I know, yeah, it's crazy. Fantasy football's almost there. A couple of weeks for most leagues, and we're into the playoffs. So big 2 weeks for a lot of teams, I would say, out there trying to make your fantasy playoffs, especially I know for me, anyways, in a lot of my leagues. So yeah, it's flying along, and I think we were talking, offline there. Season's practically over, and we're going to be, starting to miss fantasy football again.
Yeah, literally. I mean, for most people, week 14 is the deadline for like playoffs, before playoffs. So week 14 is your last push, and it's already week 13. So you only got 2 weeks left. So there's only a few more open spots left that you can get. And I know a lot of leagues I'm like 6-6. So I'm literally right on the borderline, about to go in or about to go out. So it's really going to depend on these next 2 weeks and seeing who goes in, who goes out. But I mean, the playoff picture anyways for the NFL, I mean, it's starting to look really nice, at least for me. Not so much for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just for the Seahawks, it's done. So it's out of the way. But yeah, your boys are still rolling. I expected them to win, and they did. So it's all really gone down to these next couple of big games. You have the Bills twice now in the next few weeks. So
yeah,
it's big games for your boys.
Yeah, we got the Bills, and we got a bye. Then we go to face the Colts, and then we go on to face the Bills again. I mean,
tough 3 games there, because the Colts are looking all right too.
It's okay. We can do it. I believe in Mac. Mac the attack.
Mac the attack. Is that what you're calling him now? Oh man, it's more like that defense. That defense is helping Mac attack.
That's very true. It's really the defense that's been really helping out. But I don't know. He's been actually looking good, and for on your team, anyways, Russell Wilson has not looked good, and I'm more confused on is he starting to fall off the cliff, or is he just still facing that injury that has been lingering?
I don't know. I think there's rumors that he's trying to play his way out of the Seahawks team. I don't really think he needs to play his way out. I think that need to blow up that Seahawks team, like I said before, and kind of start over. If he wants to trade him away, get a few picks, and probably start again. But yeah, he hasn't looked good since coming back from injury. I'd say the finger. I'd say he came back too soon, to be honest. And the finger issue is still there, because there's some very wide open targets down the field.
And he's just missing it.
He's just missing. And it's not like that's not like Russ. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. So yeah, it's disappointing from a Seahawks fan's point of view.
Yeah, and if we're looking at the conference, like for playoff picture right now, Baltimore is leading the charge in the AFC, along with the Patriots, Titans, and Chiefs, who are the division leaders. Then we got the Bengals and Bills and Chargers. They're the 3 wildcard teams. And then we got the Broncos, the Raiders, the Colts, the Browns, all at 6-6 or 6-5. So, I mean, there's a lot of teams still in the hunt in the AFC, but also in the NFC, because if I'm correct, the only team that has been eliminated yet is the Lions. Yeah. So, I mean, Cardinals in first, Packers second, Bucks third, Cowboys fourth. I mean, really solid teams right there. And then you got 7-4 Rams in the wild card. And then you go on to see San Francisco at 6-5, which I'm still surprised that they're in the playoffs. But then again, last night, Washington just jumped like 20 spots and is now the seventh seed in the wild card, because Washington's 5-6, Vikings, Falcons, Saints, they're all 5-6. Then you got the Eagles and Panthers, who are 5-7.
Yeah, it's very tight over that side. But the 49ers, I think they're a team to watch. I said they'd get back into the playoffs. They seem to be on a nice roll. So Seattle played them this weekend, so it's another defeat for Seattle. But yeah, I think the 49ers could be the wild cards, dark horses.
I'd love to see it. But anyways, let's move on to our waiver wire ads of the week. Make sure to visit our website, 10% off still on orders 35 plus. Use code fall21. Anyways, let's go
Get the
on to our
housekeeping in, Fernando.
yeah, get the housekeeping. Gotta get that housekeeping. I'm not even wearing. I just got my sweatshirt too, and I'm not even wearing it. It's so sad. It's nice and white and everything, and it's so comfy. Oh my goodness.
That's it. You sell it to the people. Sell it to the people.
All right, I'm not a big fan of like I have a sweatshirt on, but I'm not a big fan of it because like in the cold, if it's windy, it just goes right through the sweatshirt, it rains your skin, and just drives me insane. But I don't know what kind of material my sweatshirt was made out of, but it's working.
Yeah, well, don't tell them. Don't tell anyone. You want them to get it.
Yeah, right. Anyways, so let's go with you because I think I'm gonna enjoy your picks today. I think I just have a slight feeling.
Oh, jeez, the end of the season's coming on. Fernando's coming on, living on my side of the fence for once.
Is it gonna be Mac Jones? Are you gonna add Mac Jones?
No, not this week, but Daniel Jones is the guy. Is the first guy. New offensive coordinator there. Jason Garrett's out the door. Freddie Kitchens in. They got coming off a win as well, which was good for the Giants and good for Freddie Kitchens there. It definitely looked better on offense. Saquon Barkley back gives them that spark too. Daniel Jones' numbers didn't really didn't exactly light up the world. 202 yards, a touchdown, but I think he's gonna have a better end to the season with better play calling. I know. I was. I think you were too coming into the season. We really loved him in Superflex leagues as kind of that QB2 there that we'd have, but kind of really hasn't panned out that way. But I'm thinking he'll have a strong end to the season. He plays Miami this week. Yeah, came off a good performance, but I think the Giants will be able to put it up to them and could get a win.
I don't mind the Daniel Jones pick. I mean, in fantasy, especially Dynasty, I'm not a big fan of it. But in redraft, quarterbacks for some weird reason have been up and down lately. So you it's kind of like a hit or miss this year with quarterbacks because even the top quarterbacks, they're not we saw Jalen Hurts be the number one quarterback forever, and now he dropped down to the number 2. But I mean, it's just weird to see what these quarterbacks are doing. I don't understand. I don't understand it, to be completely honest. But
yeah,
Dynasty, if you have Daniel Jones, you should get rid of him now because I really don't think he will be a starter there.
All depends, I think, on these last few games and see what happens. Because you were going on about the playoff spots, they're not totally out of it. Getting a wild card spot. Not that I think they will, but if he manages to put some good games together and can really improve, you never know. But yeah, I would think the Giants would be looking at Russell Wilson, since I was saying, I think there'll be a lot of teams, but I'd say the Giants will be one of them. Steelers, Broncos, Washington. There are going to be a lot of teams, I think, that'll look at Russ. But I think Daniel Jones could prove his point that he is their starter for the future in the next few games, especially with better play calling.
Well, funny thing is if the season were to end today, Detroit would obviously have the number 1 overall pick. Then you got Houston, then you got Jacksonville. Then this is where it gets interesting. The Jets got the Seattle first round picks. So the Jets have a back-to-back picks, 4th and 5th pick. Then you got the Giants at 6 and 7. And then you got the Eagles at 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And you got Carolina at 10. So you got 3 teams who have a total of 6 spots in the top 10.
Yeah, that's where it comes very annoying from a Seahawks fan because I like Jamal Adams, but we just gave away all our picks. We're not a good team. We could have done with them, the first
trade away
round
Russ.
pick there. Well, I think that's the only solution, really, to be honest, is to trade Russ and get picks. Trade
to Jacksonville. Clearly, we don't want to do anything. We're not going to get rid of Urban Meyer, so I mean, you might as well
give us Trevor Lawrence and first round picks.
Yeah, trade.
I think we said that last week.
Well, yeah, we did.
Give that a go.
Can we trade Urban Meyer too? I'll give you Urban Meyer.
No,
we'll take Pete Carroll.
No, as much as I know people want Pete out the door, I definitely don't want Urban Meyer.
Yeah. So we have a question from Lee Shacker. Should I trade DK and Javonte for AB, CD, or OBJ or Freeman? AB is AB Antonio Brown or AJ Brown?
I'm thinking it's Antonio Brown. I'm guessing CD Lamb.
I was trying to figure out who CD was, but I'm guessing it's CD Lamb
and OBJ
or Freeman.
Devontae for
So you're trading DK and Javante for one of those players,
I,
or
if
all of those players? Oh, he's probably saying Antonio
he's
Brown
trading the two of them for Antonio Brown, say it's CD Lamb and OBJ
either.
or Freeman. Yeah, one of them. So it's basically
Okay.
a 3 for 2. I want DK and Javante.
Yeah, I want DK and Javante. Not gonna lie, DK only had like one catch, which his one catch secured me the win. He was gonna give me a fat donut last night, but DK is probably a buy low right now because his production. And Javante, I like Javante. I think he's a great pick,
Yeah,
but I'd rather keep DK and Javante. I'm not a big fan of Antonio Brown because of just that offense. There's so many weapons. CD Lamb I like, especially with Antonio. Amari Cooper already ruled out for week 13. I'd rather take my chances on DK than CD.
yeah, OBJ.
Same thing.
He hurt. Yeah, he hurt his hip as well. So there's no guarantee. I think there's something he's going to monitor. So I don't think it's too bad, but just something that you should probably note if you're going to trade, especially for him. And then I'm guessing it's that like Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
Like, if it's dynasty, no, you're definitely better with DK.
No.
I still think if this happens to be redraft and your trade deadline hasn't come up yet, I still think you're better off with DK and Javante. Javante proved it last week. I think DK, he's not going to go away much as the Seahawks are not very good. I think he's still going to get his touchdowns, the remainder of the season.
Especially with Freeman in Baltimore, you really don't know who, like I thought Freeman was going to be the lead back there forever. And he kind of looked to be the lead back this last week too, but here's the problem. He didn't score that many fantasy points. So that's where it gets interesting because you also had Tyson Williams who blew up the beginning of the season and then he's nobody now.
Yeah. I think we're both on the same side of the fence here with this trade, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm keeping DK and Javante for sure. Easily. Yeah. Like I'm a smash decline on that if that was sent to me. But yeah, anyways, we'll go on to one of my quarterbacks. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really into this quarterback, but there's not many quarterbacks out there. So I'm going with Carson Wentz. I mean, there's a reason why you should take him is because he's a QB 10. He is a quarterback 10. He's averaging 16.8 points. That's my worry. But he's also facing the 20th ranked defense this week. He's a good plug and play if you need a bye week player, and bye week quarterback anyways. So I really think Carson Wentz could be a good he's a top 10 quarterback. So in 10-team leagues, he should be owned. In 12-team leagues, he definitely should be owned. But he's only 44% owned.
Yeah, I think he's probably out there in a lot of waiver wires. I like him as a plug and play this week, like you said. Good streaming option and fairly solid. It's basically, it's all based around Jonathan Taylor and the run game there for the Colts. But Carson Wentz has his good moments, and I want to say he got 19 fantasy points, I think, last time against Houston. So, if he produces that type of number again, you should be happy.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz might be just one of those unpopular players that people just want to pick up, that don't want to pick up because they don't want to pick him up. They don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with him.
No, like
I got him once.
I had him a couple of times, and I know you were totally against him, like you said, you're not happy, but I think he's got better as the season's gone on. Like I think the Colts in general have though.
Yeah, but it's because Jonathan Taylor.
That's it, yeah. But that's it. If you put him behind a good offensive line, good running game, he can just take his shots and pick his moments.
Exactly. He's a good plug and play, but I'm not saying he's a viable quarterback for the rest of the week, for the rest of the season.
No. Like most leagues, he's not. You're just you got to pick and choose the best games.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go with your second guy. Let's carry over to your guy. Who's your second guy?
It's a guy that I think you really liked for most of this season. It's Derek Carr for the Raiders. A guy that I've been hot and cold on all season, let's be honest. But
he must be hot this week.
Well, he's playing Washington, and I don't think Washington are that good. Like last night, it was more the Seahawks' bad offensive play that, Russ still had his moments and was able to eat through that defense. I think Derek Carr should be able to, especially if he has Darren Waller. I know he's touch and go with a knee injury, but coming off a good win last week, they needed that win against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. They've been struggling up until then. Lots going on with that Raiders organization, but Derek Carr kind of steadied the ship there, and I think he can have another big week and probably another win for the Raiders.
I love him. Go grab him. He is the QB 11. He's a QB 11. He just put up 21 points against Dallas. And you know what? I picked Dallas to lose that game, and I was right. But he's going on to face Washington, who's ranked technically the 32nd defense. So it's, like you said, definitely a great player to plug and play, especially he's just a great starter. Obviously, he has his weeks. Obviously, Chicago, Cincinnati, 7 points, 8 points. But then he goes on to face Kansas City the week after. And he already faced Kansas City once, and he put up 18 points against them. So I wouldn't be surprised if I can see – I mean, he should be over 70% within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. He's a guy that I think he kind of thrives in them games that are, it's kind of back and forth, high-scoring games. Like them easier teams where you expect to win, he's not so good. So – I think Washington will definitely put it up to them, but I think the Raiders should win and Carr should have a good week.
Yeah, I'm probably going to pick the Raiders to win, but I mean, my weekly picks have not came out yet. But I'm leaning on the Raiders right now. But anyways, my last pick is going to be Taylor Heineke on the opposite side of you. The reason why I'm picking him is because he has been doing pretty good. They've won the last 3 weeks. He's a QB 15. He's averaging 16.5 points, so he's averaging just a little less than Carson Wentz. But guess what? Obviously, we just talked about he's facing Las Vegas this week. Las Vegas is ranked right in the middle, about 15th ranked defense. But after that, the weeks 14 through 18, he's facing all division players, which could be a factor for playoff contenders or even playoff teams who are looking to make the final push. The divisional matchups, it goes Dallas, Philly, New York Giants. So I don't know. He already put up 20 points against New York Giants, so I wouldn't be surprised if he puts up another 20 points against division matchups.
Yeah, like I said, it could be a game that's back and forth. Last night, I don't think he was too good for fantasy. Like, he was fine in real life. I think he managed the game well. The running game was good. Yeah, he's okay. I prefer Derek Carr in this matchup, to be honest.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, because you're just a Derek Carr guy. I think he's fine. I wouldn't be expecting him to light up the world, but I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that he's going to ball out and score 30 points, which I'd be surprised if he did, because I don't think he scored 30 points all year. But, Derek Carr could be the one that's scoring 30 points.
Yep, who knows?
But an honorable mention I do want to mention is the future Rookie of the Year. You already know where I'm going with this one.
Yeah, I do.
It's Mac Jones. This man put up 21.5 points against the Tennessee Titans. This man is looking good. This man is going to be Rookie of the Year. This man is bringing the dynasty back. Sorry, Seattle.
Well,
it's Mac Jones.
It's fine. Lay the smack with Mac. That's what your line should be.
Ooh, that's a good line. That's a really good line.
That's what it should be. Yeah. Mac Jones, he's probably been a better quarterback in real life than fantasy, just because of that, how good the run game is. But he's going to improve. He's going to get better. I'm interested to see. He'll probably be forced to throw the ball more this week against Buffalo, I'd imagine.
I hope so, because Tre'Davious White's out for the season.
Yeah, I'd imagine this is going to be end-to-end stuff. I'm interested to see what happens with this Buffalo O-line. It's been terrible the last few weeks. I think the Patriots D can really get at them. So I'm interested to see what happens here with Josh Allen if he's just trying to get the ball out of his hands quick. But should be a great game, and I think this game will force Mac to throw more. So he could have a better fantasy day.
So I got to ask. I'm going to ask every week. Patriots, Super Bowl contenders?
The way the league is going, anybody is bar the Seahawks and Detroit and the Jags, but any of the rest of them,
and the Jets
and
Falcons.
But anyone with a decent record is a contender. But of course the Patriots have.
Did I hear a yes?
You have a shout. Yeah, you have a shout. But I'm still predicting the Bills' speech this week.
Will he be the first rookie quarterback to ever take a team to the Super Bowl as a rookie?
Be interesting. That'd be really good. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't put it past the Patriots kind of dynasty and legacy of, just add something new to it. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past that to happen.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see, but I would be surprised also if a rookie quarterback goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you're going to split the games with the Bills. So
I think so.
I think they might get the upper hand this one. Then I think you'll get them back.
I think we're going to lose 2 more games. It's going to be one to Buffalo and another one to another divisional match, probably Miami, because we somehow just keep always losing to Miami.
Yeah. They just have the voodoo over you.
Yeah, honestly. But anyways, that's going to do it for our quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke are my 2 picks, and Keith's 2 picks is Daniel Jones and Derek Carr. Let's go on to our great running backs. There's a lot of injuries that have happened. I mean, a lot of big names. Christian McCaffrey has officially been put on IR for the second straight time this season, which means he is ineligible to come back for the rest of the season. So that's something really big to keep in mind. But Keith, we'll start with you again.
Start with me.
Let's go with that. Who are you gonna go with?
I'll double up on this since you let in an injury. So first one, you're on about CMC. So Chuba Hubbard. CMC out for the season. Next man up, Chuba Hubbard. He looked good when CMC was out the first time. They are on a bye this week, but I don't think you're going to get him if you wait a week. Yeah, no. I think he's going to be off everybody's waivers. He'll be over 70%. We won't be talking about him.
I almost dropped Chuba a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no.
I didn't, but I almost did.
Yeah, it would have been bad. But so you got to pick him up. I'm sure all the CMC owners out there, if they're not covered by having him already, are going to be scrambling for him. So, go out there, get after it, go get Chuba. Then the next one, since we're dealing with injuries, it's Alexander Madison. Dalvin Cook has gone down. Looks like he's going to be only out for a couple of weeks. Looks like it's a torn labrum in his other shoulder because he's already torn the labrum in his whatever, right or left, whatever. He has 2 labrum tears now anyways. But Madison's the next man up. He should get the full workload for at least, I think, 2 weeks. So for, like we were saying at the start, for most people, that takes you into playoffs. So it could be a guy that takes you there and see what happens. But yeah, there was some big news. Probably, it's kind of a killer for a lot of fancy teams when you see CMC and Dalvin Cook go down. So you got to get after them guys. I think them guys are going to be the 2 top waiver ads.
And I got rid of CMC for DK Metcalf in a dynasty just in time.
Yeah.
But he didn't really do much anyways this week, DK. But I mean, I love those 2 picks. Obviously, you're gonna love them because they're RB1s now on their team. Chuba, we've already seen he can produce. Alexander Madison, we've also seen prior years because Dalvin Cook, like I've said before, not a big fan of him. You know why? It's his injuries. So that's one of the biggest things that I've always never wanted Dalvin Cook in any of my leagues. If anything, I'd rather have Madison because you know what? Madison started 2 games this year, or at least, 2 games this year. Maybe 3. Don't quote me on that one. But Seattle, he had 112 rushing yards. He scored 23 points. Detroit in week 5, he scored 130. He rushed for 113 yards and had 26 points. Guess what? He faces Detroit this week. He's a breakout player again. This man's going to be getting 20 plus points easily. I mean, I'd be shocked if he doesn't. And as for Chubb, I mean, this man's just a legend. But Cam Newton also really hurts his value too.
Yeah, he does. But after watching Cam, the interceptions, he got benched.
Cam's back. The Patriots Cam is back.
I think you have to also throw in the mix that offensive line was awful. Miami just kept blitzing and they couldn't. Even when PJ Walker came in, I think his first throw, he was on the ground throwing and was interception or something. So I think they might lean just a bit more on the run game though, just to kind of slow it all down and then let Cam do his thing. Yeah,
I mean, I think those are 2 viable options, easy options. I mean, they're your RB1s.
Yeah,
you got to get them. RB2s, anyways.
That's it. You get them now and you play them, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a quick plug and play, no matter what.
Exactly.
But for my 2, anyways, these are also 2 players that are backups that are starters now, or most likely will be starters. And one of them is 61% owned, and that's Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is the RB24 currently, and he's been a backup to Zeke most of the season and most of his career. But 10.9 points a game. The last 3 weeks, he scored 9 plus points, and 2 of them being over 15 points. This last week he had 36 rushing yards, caught all 4 receptions, 32 yards, and he had 16.8 points. Zeke's knee has been bothering him all season, and it's been struggling. He's been struggling all season. So Pollard led the Cowboys in carries and rushing yards last week, and he would have scored a touchdown too last week, but he just fell just short. And the last time he scored a touchdown, I think it was like week 2. So expect Pollard to find the end zone this week, because I forget who said it. I think it was head coach. I think Zeke. They said that Zeke's going to be kind of stepping back more, and they're going to give Pollard more of the carries because Zeke's injury.
Yeah, the only thing about that I read this morning that Jerry Jones came out. Now I don't know how it's viable because he's not a coach. I know he owns the Cowboys, but he did say that Zeke will get more carries, or he'll get the bulk of the load this week. So it does seem like he has this niggling knee injury, and we've seen all season anyways. They've been mixing the two guys in, and Pollard's been really good. And you seen last week with the big, he had the big touchdown from the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely a guy you can put in, especially in a flex play. And if that knee injury or gets worse, or Zeke just happens to go down, you have the number one guy there. So yeah, he's
we should call up Jerry. Tell Jerry, listen, Jerry, if you're gonna give him most of the bulk, then expect him to go down, because he's gonna go down if he gets most of the work.
Yeah, if his knee is bad as he sounds, and yeah. So I don't know. Jerry Jones could be all, this could be all for the media. He's not a coach. But then again, McCarthy has COVID, so he can't do much of the talking either.
That's true.
So who do you believe there? Like,
who's the guy?
Yeah.
So anyways, I mean, I think Tony Pollard is going to, no matter what, still break 10 points, maybe 15 points easily. I don't think Zeke should even play. I think he should, to be completely honest, I think he should be placed on IR. And I think he should get 3 weeks of rest him, make sure he's ready for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think, but hey, I'm not a head coach. So Mike McCarthy, you do you. Jerry Jones, you do you. Yeah. But anyways, my last guy is Jamal Williams. And that's because Swift is dealing with a shoulder injury. Williams, I mean, he leads, I think he's done really good. Swift does not look like he'll be ready for week 13. So I expect Williams to be starting. And I value him as an easily high-end RB2, low-end RB1 this week. I mean, this man put up 13.3 points. He had 65 rushing yards. He caught all 5 receptions for 18 yards. I mean, Jamal Williams, we saw already in where did we see him? Green Bay. We saw him. And even with Aaron Jones there, he was still doing really good in fantasy. And then when Aaron Jones went down, it was literally the Jamal Williams show. And we're seeing that again in Green Bay too, because it's the A.J. Dillon show now.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Williams does this week. I think he's looked good every time he's come in, but obviously Swift is their main guy there. But like you said, I don't think he's going to make this week anyways. Looks like he's pretty banged up with that shoulder. I'm a fan of Williams. I think he's definitely a guy to go out and get. The only thing that goes against him is that he plays for Detroit, and they're a pretty bad team.
Yeah.
And when it comes to running the ball, it's kind of, sometimes it can be non-existent just because they're behind in games. And it's a lot of dumb passes down to Swift and stuff like that, which hopefully he'll get this week, which will, if you're in a PPR league, which would be great. But yeah, I think he's a great shout this week.
Imagine Detroit beats Minnesota.
Oh, that'd be crazy. I just want them to win a game, to be honest.
I really think they're going to win a game, if not 2 games. It's the Falcons and the Packers in week 18. So I'm saying.
Falcons and the Packers. Okay.
Because Packers should not start players week 18.
Yeah, they're already gone to the playoffs, but then you'd imagine.
Yeah, but that's going to do it for our running backs. And I've never actually done a podcast or done a show where 4 really top key running backs that are handcuffs, usually they're always over 70% owned.
Yeah.
So to see these top 4, this is shocking to me. So
I think this is probably what happens when you have bye weeks, though. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you drop these guys because you've got no choice, and you've got to fill that roster spot. And then nobody's expecting probably 2 of the top running backs to go down. Exactly. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So myself, I picked Tony Pollard, Jamal Williams, And Keith picked Alexander Madison and Chuba Hubbard. He stole my picks. Just saying. I do love those picks. I actually picked those over Jamal Williams anyways because it's the Lions. But Tony Pollard can go either way.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go on to our wide receivers. And you know what? I think I'm going to start mine first. And it's going to be Darnell Mooney. And he's the wide receiver 30. He's averaging 12.9 points a game. I mean, he's had 5+ targets since week 3. And we say targets are really important. And the fact that he's getting 5+ targets each and every week since week 3, I mean, it's been 9 weeks. He's going on his 10th week. He's going to have over 5 targets. Not to mention week 11, he had 16 targets. Last week, he had 8 targets, 5 receptions, 123 yards. He did rush 1 time for 2 yards, but he scored 17.5 points. This is his 3rd game with 17+ points. So, and 2 of them were over 20+. So he's a really viable option. The fact that he's not over 70% owned, which I really think he will be after this week because he's 67.5%. I would be shocked if he's not over 70% starting next week.
Yeah, I love the shout. Like we've spoken about Darnell Mooney a few times, and what's good for Darnell Mooney and anybody that has him, I suppose, in fantasy is it doesn't matter what quarterback is in there. The targets still come his way. You know, Andy Dalton's still, looking at him. Justin Fields, he was his number 1 guy. So, yeah, he's a guy that definitely should be over 70%. I think he's a seriously talented dude. I think he's probably as good as just putting in as a wide receiver 2 these days now.
I mean, easily, because Allen Robinson, he's nowhere. He's going to go to another team next year. We already know that. So, Darnell Mooney's the wide receiver 1 there. 100%. Yep. And he's been all season.
Yep.
So, let's go on to your guy. Who we targeting here?
So first guy I'll go with Russell Gage. So a guy that talent-wise I've always liked, but he gave me a big fat donut in week 10. That really put me off him. Then ever since that, he's been pretty good. Last week, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 18 fantasy points. I mean, that's just as good as anyone, really. Mm-hmm. There's still no Calvin Ridley. I think Kyle Pitts is getting doubled up at every chance. So it's leaving a lot of space for Russell Gage. He plays the Bucs this week. It's a tough matchup, but you just don't run the ball against the Bucs. So everything will go in the air. Matt Ryan, he loves to throw anyway. So I still think he's a viable option this week.
You know what? The last 3 out of the 4 weeks, he's had over seven targets. So obviously it's not the targets that's been like hurting him because he's been getting it. It's just what he can do with the ball is the thing that's been struggling. And I think now that he finally found the end zone this week, Matt Ryan is going to start to look at him more, and he might be a red zone target because Kyle Pitts is getting doubled up. So
that's it. Exactly. He's probably good for 10 points, but if he gets a touchdown, well, there you go. You're happy.
Yeah, exactly. And I like Gage. I like Gage, to be completely honest. I thought he was going to break out this year. Obviously, we haven't really seen that this year, but that's also because Calvin Ridley's been gone, so that doesn't help too. But
yeah, and then he was out injured for a lot of time as well, Gage. So yeah, but I think going forward now, I think he should be a solid start.
Yeah. I think Gage is a viable pick. I haven't dropped him in any of my leagues because I really think he's going to succeed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I'll go on to my next guy, and it's a guy from the Rams. He's 42.8% owned. He is Odell, not Odell. He is Van Jefferson. He's wide receiver 45. He's averaging 10.5 points. I mean, this man's been doing really good, and he's had 6+ targets in the last 5 games. We've been saying targets are important. Last week he had 9 targets, 3 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Man had 18.3 points. Obviously, he didn't do as good as Odell Beckham, but I really don't see Odell Beckham doing that every single week. I rather see I think Van Jefferson will do that every single week though. So he's seen the targets, and the problem is he's only gotten 3 receptions each and every week in the last 4 games, which blows my mind how you only get 3 receptions and you've had 6+ targets. But he's also a deep threat, so sometimes Matthew Stafford overthrows him. But this is one of my biggest interested players I'm into because of the deep threat, and just he reminds me of Robert Woods and what he did in his like first couple years.
Yeah. Oh, I brought him up last week, Fanton Jefferson. I think he's a really good player. I think I really like the talent. He's a deep threat, like you said, and that's where he got most of his points last week, I think, off that long touchdown. But he's probably the wide receiver too, to be honest. I think he'll see more of the ball in these upcoming weeks than OBJ.
Easily.
Yeah. So I think he's definitely a solid start. You can plug him in, flex, maybe wide receiver too. It depends. He's probably a bit boomer bust for that, but definitely a good flex play because his floor, we don't really know, maybe around 8-10 points, but if he gets the big boom plays, you're talking upwards 15 to 20 there. So yeah, I think he's a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I really think his floor is 10 points easily each and every week, especially since Robert Woods isn't there. He's each and every week, he's going to get 10 points at least, especially with his targets that he's been getting.
Yep.
So, all right, who's your last pick? And don't bore me with this pick.
Well, it's your guy.
It is.
Bourne. Guy that, as a talent, I don't really rate him at all. But for fantasy, he's been pretty solid. Like last week, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 23 fantasy points. I mean, he looks like when it comes to the receivers, he's kind of Mac's go-to guy. I know when it comes to the red zone, Mac looks for Hunter Henry a lot, but he's been getting the touchdowns outside of the running backs and outside of Hunter Henry. So he plays the Bills, as we've talked about this week. It's it's kind of a stingy secondary. Who knows what happens? But if he's the guy on the end of the touchdowns this week, I think he'll still put up a decent fantasy score.
See, here's my problem. And this is where you bore me a little bit here. No, I just love making those puns. It's really funny. So Kendrick Bourne and just that Patriots whole offense, Kendrick Bourne has seen 10 plus points in 6 out of the 12 weeks. So you either got a 50-50 shot. He's either not going to get you plus 10 over 10 points or under 10 points. So it's kind of a hit or miss with the guy. Obviously, he had 23 points this week, but he also had 2 touchdowns, and that gave up 12 points of easily just from that, which means if you minus the 23, minus the 12 off the 23, he only got 11 points minusing the touchdowns. I don't know whether, I think he should be owned, but I also don't think he is right away a plug and play, only because I just don't know where this offense is going. Like Mac Jones, I love Mac Jones, but in fantasy, he's just not the guy I want, because you don't know whether he's going to score 23 points like he did this week, or he's going to score 11 points next week. They still win either way, but you just don't know. And especially with Kendrick Bourne, you don't know. Nelson Aguilar, you kind of don't know. Hunter Henry, he was a touchdown-dependent guy. Now we don't even know because he hasn't been scoring touchdowns. So that whole offense just confuses the heck out of me in fantasy.
Question marks over all of them. Yeah, I suppose you're not wrong what you say. I just think that Bourne is probably the one that shines through as the receiver there. Mac Jones seems to like, when it comes down to the red zone and trying to get a touchdown, because Myers is definitely a reception guy, get them up the field, but he only has 1 touchdown. So it's when he comes down there, he doesn't look for Myers. I think it's kind of like Bourne or Hunter Henry. So
mind you, Myers didn't even catch it from Mac Jones.
No, he didn't. He caught it from the backup, right? So,
but Jacoby Myers looked pretty good last week.
Myers, I think you get off Myers. He's a great reception. He has a great. What am I trying to say?
He's a great player.
I wouldn't say he's a great player, but he's got him and Mac Jones are just on the same wavelength. And he just, when he gets that ball up the field, he just moves the Patriots all the way up. You know what I mean? He's just a great reception receiver. There we go. But I still like Bourne for the touchdowns.
Yeah, I like Bourne. I like Bourne over Aguilar. I like Bourne over Myers for touchdowns. The only thing is you got Jonnu Smith, which clearly is a running back now because they had him running.
Yeah, what's going on with Jonnu Smith? I really liked him when he played for the Titans. I don't like him when he plays for the Patriots.
I know. I like what they're doing with him, and if it works, it works. But it's confusing. I don't.
Yeah, maybe it's good for the team, but it's definitely not good for fantasy because he's not relevant.
No, not at all. I thought he was going to be the top tight end there.
Yeah,
obviously it's Hunter Henry.
Yep.
So that's going to do it for our wide receivers. Darnell Mooney, Van Jefferson are my 2 picks, and Russell Gage and Kendrick Bourne are Keith's picks. So we're going to go on to our tight ends. And man, these tight ends, there's just not so many.
Man, tight ends was brutal last week too.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. Like, you're getting donuts from some guys and not much from the rest. And then you have Jack Doyle, who nobody had, doing well and stuff like that. Wasn't a great week for tight ends.
Yeah, and also to keep in mind is Darren Waller's week to week, which means he will probably not start this week. So a lot of top tight end fantasy owners that own Waller are going to be looking for another tight end. And one of those tight ends should be and will be Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas is 51.5% owned. Why is he 51% owned? This guy did phenomenal last year. Are you basing this off injuries? Is that why? This is his first game back from his hammy injury. Sure, he had a hammy, and you know what? He only scored 6.1 points, but look, he is one of Heineke's favorite targets. He only trailed McLaurin in targets, and he literally would have had a touchdown if that controversial call. I don't know whether it was a touchdown or not. Obviously, we saw it kind of hit the ground, but I don't know. Did he have control or did he not? It's the game. If he scored that, he would have had 13 points plus a little yard. So he would have probably had 13.5 points. And we would have probably been a little different talking about this since he only scored 6.1 technically. So Logan Thomas should be the guy that should be owned in all leagues. He should be a buy low right now in Dynasty. I mean, he is a top tight end and he should be owned.
Yeah, big fan of Logan Thomas. I think we've said him a couple of weeks here. People go get him. And, he kind of stalled from coming back and made his return last night. I think he was on kind of a pitch count. I don't think he was out there a whole lot. But yeah, he's definitely one of Heineke's top targets. And he's definitely a guy to go and get now for if you're a guy making, someone making a push for the playoffs. I think he's definitely go get him. I think he'll definitely help you.
Oh, easily. So he's one of my guys. He's a guy that should be owned in all leagues. But let's talk about a guy that has kind of been he's been in the league for what, 3 years now? 2 years now?
2 years.
I mean, he should be coming up, but is this the week?
It's the week for Cole Kmet, hopefully. But he's been coming on slowly. I think a slow burner this year. But last game out, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 14 fantasy points. I think what more do you really want from a tight end? He's a young guy. He's growing in, and Jimmy Graham is still there. I think that's probably half the issue too. They just kind of need to cut ties with Jimmy Graham and give Cole Kmet the run there. But plays the cards, tough matchup. But I still think he's a guy you can plug in, especially when we seen what last week happened with the tight ends. It was a brutal week. George Kittle did nothing as well. And he's a star guy. Hawkinson was fine, 12 points, but as Hawkinson, you'd probably want more. It just wasn't a good week, so I think Cole Kmet could be fine this week.
Yeah, the only thing is I'm ready to see out next year when Allen Robinson is finally not off the team, because I think once Allen Robinson is off that team, it's going to be Cole Kmet and Darnell Mooney show with Justin Fields. I honestly think that's how it's going to be, and he scored 14 points the last 3 games that he scored. Excuse me, 2 out of the 3 games he's played last. And it was against Pittsburgh and it was against Detroit. Obviously, they don't play again this season, but hey, I really think that there's a chance that Cole Kmet is the breakout tight end next year.
Yeah, that's a great show. You should write that down now.
Maybe
remember
that's
from
the
this
guy.
pod. There you go.
Maybe it's the guy that I try to convince next year. Lynn Bowden's still my guy next year, though.
Yeah. But
maybe. We'll see.
Maybe, but I think you got a good shot with that one, maybe being a breakout next season and seeing. I was thinking he might break out this year, but they didn't get rid of Jimmy Graham, and I think that holds back too.
That's true. So we actually have a question from Jonathan. Do I trade Kelsey for Pitts, Renfro, and Chase in PPR? I just want to say, maybe you're on my side here, but I'm chasing that victory. I'm going Pitts, Renfro, and Chase.
Yeah. If especially if this dynasty, I love having the Pitts and Chase duo there.
If this is dynasty, this is a smash accept.
Yeah, but I want the only thing is Kel, it depends where you are because I don't think you're going to get much off Pitts, and you're going to just kind of have to ride the wave for the rest of the season. It's probably Renfro and Chase you're going to be looking at there to do most of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, but
So,
Chase is like top. Chase is like a top 5 or 10 wide receiver, and Renfro's like top 20.
Oh, he is, but then Chase gives you like 6 points last week. You know what I mean? I think Kelsey has a solid 15-point base every week. You know what you're going to get him off him. But I still personally, I would take Pitts, Renfro, and Chase.
Yeah, I mean, he mentioned it's a redrafting 7 and 5. I'd like to see like what other wide receivers do you have? Maybe that could kind of play a role, because if you have like, I don't know, if you have Lockett and DK Metcalf, for instance, I don't know. I'd rather take the chance with just Kelsey.
It just depends, because you've seen last week with the Bengals, they went run heavy, and they didn't.
That's because they were also leading, though.
They were, but they kind of from the start of the game, it was mix. He had 32 fancy points. I want to say
he also had like 32 attempts.
Yeah. Renfro had a great week. He got 19.
My boy,
your
boy Renfro.
But it's just because it's redraft. I'm guessing that's why he's probably thinking about it more, because you're putting in Pitts and you're just going to ride the wave. He's not going to, he could have a really good week, but he's more than likely going to, not do too good. And you know what you get off Kelsey. So 7 of 5, I would say take the chance, because I like Jamar Chase, and I think Renfro is solid too.
Yeah, I'm a big Renfro guy, and I know you say you have Van Jefferson, AB, Ayuk, Jacoby Myers. AB's iffy on me. I've always been iffy. Van Jefferson's my waiver wire out of the week. Ayuk, Deebo Samuel's hurt. Ayuk is going to the moon. He's going to score all the fantasy points that you want. So he's a must start, along with Renfro. And if you have a flex, it's Jamar Chase. Pitts, put him in.
Yeah.
It kind of just evens everything out, because say you have 2 wide receivers that you start, and you got to start a 3rd wide receiver, then Van Jefferson, Ayuk, AB, whatever it is, if you add all those together, you're probably going to get what Kyle Pitts, Renfro, Chase, what they're all going to score. I mean, if that made sense. But anyways, I think that's perfect, to be completely honest. I'd go with that trade. I don't know if the other guy that was going to take the trade, to be completely honest. That's the question.
I think it's not bad. I think you can definitely it's definitely one to think about. But yeah, I think we're on the same side with this one.
Oh, and he has Dawson Knox as a backup.
Oh.
Dawson Knox. Yeah,
Dawson Knox.
Yeah, you got to get rid of Kelsey. Get Pitts, Renfro.
Just take the trade and start Knox, and you might even be able to trade Pitts to someone else.
Yeah, easily.
There we go.
And obviously, we got Karina in the chat saying Debo, sad face. I know. Debo.
Yeah, trying the club. I lost Debo too in one of my leagues. But then again, I'm going to replace him with Jalen Waddle, so I'm not too bad about that.
Yeah. So we actually have another question from Armani, and he wants to know, do I trade Jalen Hurts in a Superflex Dynasty League? What do I ask for in return if I go through with a steal? Keith, I'm going to ask you, because I already know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to ask you.
Well, going by Jalen Hurts, a guy that kind of hurts my head a little, because he doesn't look good in real life, but then again, his score in fantasy could be great, and then it flips the next week. Mm-hmm. So, are we looking to trade for another QB? Is that where we're going with this?
He's looking. So he doesn't really have that many picks, but he has. I don't know. He's 5-7. Here's the problem. He's 5-7. He literally was like 5-0, and then he didn't. And then he lost 7 games.
Okay, so if you're looking for a pick, I think you're going straight in for a first. You're going to want a first round pick for January.
I think he gets 2.
You think he gets 2?
I think you could argue that he's one of the top. He's a top 2 quarterback right now.
Yeah, and it depends. It just
depends on who
yeah, if you're going to trade him to a team who's probably, say, either now or next year is looking like a winner, you'll probably get 2 picks off him, no problem.
Yeah, and he lost 6 straight. Just want to point that out. I think so. He really needs running backs. That's his biggest concern. His wide receivers kind of iffy. Keenan Allen, Odell Beckham, Jacoby Myers. Austin Hooper is his problem. He has a tight end, Austin Hooper. Gerald Everett, Jared Cook, Tyler Conklin, Tommy Tremble. So it's the tight ends that are kind of concerning, and running backs. I think personally, if he asked for 2 running backs, not 2 running backs, 2 first-round picks, maybe a quarterback in return, a young one.
I don't know. I think that's over. Personally, that's over the top for Hurts if you're going to go down that road. But yeah, I'm not saying it's not possible. I think pushing it, you could get 2 picks, but I personally, if it was going to me, I wouldn't give you any more or any players. That's what you get off me.
So
but Hurts would want to make me a winner now or in contention.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing, though: the person that offered this trade, because I'm going to tell you this trade, I'm going to see what you say.
Okay.
He's a rebuild. This guy's a rebuild, and he wants Hurts. He's offering Derek Carr, Jordan Love, Brian Edwards, Chuba Hubbard, and a first for Hurts.
It's a lot of players, but it's a lot of players that don't really inspire me.
Carr inspires me.
Carr's fine. Chuba Hubbard, he's good, but again, technically sits behind CMC. So yeah, when he's not there, he's good. So Brian Edwards, not for me. Who else?
Edwards, Chuba, Jordan Love.
Nope.
This is Dynasty. This is also Dynasty.
Yeah, nope.
Derek Carr, yeah. I don't know. I was thinking more...
I prefer 2 first-round picks and let me do what I want with them than give me these pieces that are not going to really add a lot to my team. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I literally was telling him, I think you go for a 2022 first, a 2024 second, or even a first, depending, and get one of the guys that you want. He wants a running back, so he's probably going to want Chuba.
Go after one of the top running backs, and if you want.
He doesn't have picks.
But he wants picks too.
He wants picks in a quarterback if he gets rid of Hurts. So getting
go one pick. But so then if you take all them, are you happy with Carr, happy with the pick, and then gonna try and flog the rest? I don't really know what you get for the rest. Do you know what I mean?
See, I'm happy with Carr, Chuba, and 2 firsts.
Okay.
I'm happy with that. I think that's viable because you have 2 firsts that you can deal with, and then you got Carr, who's kind of a reliable quarterback so far, and then you got Chuba, who's going to be starting.
Yeah, I think it's fine. If he gets it, I think it's good. I just personally, like I said, I just don't think I'd offer any more than 2 first picks.
No, not at all.
That's just the way I just play. I don't know if I'm just tight with it, but stuff. I have different valuations for different people.
I'm not a big Hurts fan.
Yeah, so. I think he's more hot and cold, and I don't think as being whatever the second best fantasy quarterback. Yeah. I think that's fine, but I don't think he's looked that great either in a lot of games. But you got to test the water, so go for more, and then hopefully you settle on something. Do you know what I mean? Go for the 2 picks and Carr or whatever. You know what I mean? Go more. And then if you got to refine it back or you got to compromise, then that's fine.
Exactly. I 100% agree. But Jonathan replied back saying that the person said that he wants AB, Antonio Brown. So
what was this one? Was this the Kelsey
This
one?
was Kelsey one. Yeah, so Kelsey AB for Renfro, Chase, and Pitts. And the other person also has Marquise Brown, and he wants to know, would you rather have him over Chase? I'd rather have Jamar Chase.
I'll take Jamar Chase. Yeah.
I'm taking. I
don't know whether we kind of worked it well. I don't know whether you should throw in anyone else. If that guy wants Kelsey, you should just be taking Kelsey. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, because Brown is okay. He's just not the best. He's wide receiver 47.
We're talking about Renfro, who's been really good so far. Chase, a little bit hot and cold, but his boom games are going to be great and have been great. It's the Kyle Pitts. I think it's the name more than anything goes with Kyle Pitts. It's not dynasty, it's redraft. So You're not going to get a lot of points from him. We're saying take it, and then you start Dawson Knox. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. And Dawson Knox, they already went through a bye, so you don't really need another tight end.
I'm not adding anyone in. I'm kind of going here. If you want Kelsey, this is it.
Here's the thing. That's exactly. I'm saying that 100%. But if you really want those players, toss in AB. Try to convince him not to toss in AB, but I'd throw in AB.
Yeah, I don't think it sells me enough because you dumb it down and we're going. It's really Renfro and Chase because we're not going to start bits. So I don't think it's. Then when you say that, I want the Kelsey and AB side. You get me?
Oh, yeah. So what if you don't even ask for Kyle Pitts?
That's it. Why don't we go get someone else? We have Dawson Knox.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying go for Chase and Renfro. And if you want,
go for Chase and Renfro for Kelsey, or if you want, go throw in somebody else, see who else he's got instead of Kyle Pitts.
If you need a running back, cheap running back, Alexander Madison, Chuba Hubbard, Jamal Williams, Tony Pollard. Those are all really good ones right now. Great options. Those are all options. And he also traded Hawkinson this season for Bateman.
Traded Hawkinson for Bateman.
I don't know about redraft. I don't know if I like it.
I would have stuck with Hawkinson.
Yeah. Armani also mentioned that he was just offered Justin Fields in a 2023 first for Hurts. Would you accept or decline?
Justin Fields or a 23. I like Fields. I like his potential. Don't mind the first. I would definitely have a think about that one.
Yeah, I'd have a think about that one too. I like Justin Fields over Hurts, and Justin Fields is going to keep going up.
Yeah, it depends. It depends how he feels. He feels. Depends how he feels about Justin Fields. But I think that would make me think a lot. Yeah, especially the first as well. If the first is, if you think the first, or the first is going to be early as well, that would pull it in that direction for me too.
I was gonna say, what if you could go for a 2022 first? If this is the team that I'm thinking that's like going to be one of those loser bracket ones, it's not gonna hurt you anyways.
The puns are flying out.
I know. It might hurt him, but hey, you're fielding for those picks, so
yeah.
No pun.
Look at you again.
Anyways, let's move on to our final two picks for tight ends anyways. And I'm going to finish off with Pat Freiermuth. He's a tight end 14. He's averaging 9.7 points, 4 receptions, 40 yards, 1 touchdown. Man had 14 points. And you know what? He's the third tight end currently with the most targets in the last 4 weeks. He scored a touchdown in the last 4 out of 5 games. And Eric Ebron's on the IR. So Pat Freiermuth is going to see more looks, and he's going to be a viable option for the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, he's been great. Most weeks, I really like him.
Most weeks, yes.
Most weeks he's been great. So I don't really know to say much about him. I'm a big fan of him. So I'll move on swiftly to mine. And mine's kind of taking a chance. And I'm hoping he kind of improves and may help teams get to the playoffs. But it's Evan Ingram.
I don't like it.
6 targets, 3 receptions. You don't like him?
No, I don't.
I'm not a bit, be honest with you. I like the talent, but it just hasn't happened for him there.
He had so much talent.
He did, and he still does. And I'm hoping that Freddie Kitchens can make it out of him. I think for this whole offense, I think Kenny Galladay as well, but I think Evan Ingram is a really talented dude. So, I think he may be able to help teams get to the playoffs, and hopefully starting this week.
He had one good span. It was from week 7 to week 9 where he had over 10 points. And then he just consistently had his 6 points, 3 points, 4 points, 7 points, like nothing. So
yeah, I just hope it improved because I think we seen it last week, it improved for Daniel Jones in terms of fantasy. So I'm hoping, that has a knock-on effects now for the wide receivers and tight end.
Yeah. So, but that's going to do it for our tight ends. Logan Thomas, Pat Freiermuth were both my 2 tight ends. Keith's 2 tight ends were Cole Kmet and Evan Ingram. And I mean, make sure to go on our website, shop on orders 10% off on orders 35 plus. Use code fall21. And for anyone who has commented and who has any more questions, we'll field your comments and we'll field your trades, So once again, that's going to do it for our podcast this week. Week 12 waiver wire ads. Make sure to go pick those waivers up before it's over, before tomorrow anyways. Next week, we will be here at 11 a.m. We'll not be here at 3 p.m. Eastern, so make sure to be looking out for that because that's a 4-hour time difference. Anyways, that's going to do it here today. My name is Fernando. I am your host of Sports Time HQ, and joined with me today is my co-host Keith. You can follow him all over social media at swampdonkey_90, and make sure to follow him and his fiance on Instagram at huddleup_NFL. We'll see you all next week at 11 a.m. sharp.